two kind of goals you might have. One goal might be, oh, I just want to lean up. I want to stay the same size, same shape. I just want to be a bit more toned, right? So in other words, what that means is you want to lose fat and you want to build muscle. Okay, so if you're looking at weight loss, that might be one goal. You know, the other goal is I want to transform my body to look not like it does now, but to look like this. We have an image in our mind of, you know, a vastly different looking physical form. And in that regard, you cannot rush that because you are demanding a complete physiological change. Like, think about that, right? Like, think about taking an orange and making it into an apple. Now, that's not even possible, but in a sense, I can't think of a better analogy because that's a really crappy one. Okay, here's an analogy. You're taking one physical form and trying to change it into another physical form, right? So it's like telling a baby, become a teenager, but do it in a year. Or it's like growing a chicken and using hormones to grow it in 7 weeks instead of 9 months. I don't know how long a chicken normally takes to grow, but I know that we speed up the process for production, right? Fat loss or weight loss is like the opposite. We want that process like that. Anyway, I'm going to come back to that because I have a few things I want to share with you guys that I think are really important to keep front of mind as you work on whatever your goal is this year. But I want to circle back to what I was talking about, which I can't remember. Oh, goodness me. So maybe I'll just continue on that too, because I had something else to say. I don't know what it was. Okay. It'll come to me. What was I talking about? What was I battling about? My food. I was sharing with you. So working out on an empty stomach. See, it always comes back. Working out on an empty stomach. So I'm up at. Here's the thing. Up until like the last month, I would roll out of bed with just enough time to, you know, brush my teeth, get dressed, maybe have some swigs of coffee and go run. So if I was running at 7, I definitely wasn't getting up before 6. I have to leave my house at about 6:45. So 30 to 45 minutes. So I was starting my run within an hour of getting up. Now, I'm getting up at 5 or 5:30, which I love, you guys. Oh my gosh, I'm addicted. I don't know what I'm going to do when I go on vacation next month and I have to stay up past 9:30 because I'm loving this 9:30 slash 5:30 rising. Anyway, I'm waking up before my alarm. Like, I woke up this morning at 5:05. Love it. Anyway, so now I'm up for 2 hours before I actually run. So I'm not eating for 3 hours. And I've been playing with that a little bit to see how it would work for me and see if I can adjust to that and see if I can run. And yesterday, Tuesday, I had my coffee with the collagen creamer, like they suggested. I felt great. I came home, I ate my breakfast. But yesterday, I felt depleted. Like, I felt like I was running on fumes. And when you kind of can figure out what that feels like, where like you're just, I just know the feeling now, and to me, I know that's food. I need food. So today, I decided to try Emily's suggestion from Best Me, which was to mix because here's the one thing that I'm trying to stay really committed to, is to start my day with protein, not carbs. And so I didn't want to have the banana because I wanted my first meal, my first food, after fasting, in a catabolic state. I want the first thing to go in to be protein, and I want it to be a good source of protein because I listened to a doctor talk about this the other day, two doctors. The first meal of the day after a fast is the most important in the sense that your body's like so eager to uptake what you're giving it. So basically, if you're giving it good protein, it's going to uptake and synthesize that protein at the most optimal way for the whole day. So, you know, one thing I'm thinking of seriously trying is, you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I am going to try this. Not yet, but I'm going to try this. Maybe later in the month. I'm going to try chicken breasts for breakfast. And I might move my eggs to nighttime. So I've changed my dinner to lunch. I'm probably going to change my lunch to breakfast and move my breakfast to dinner. I'm going to try it because the chicken seems to be, out of all of the sources of protein that I'm taking right now, seems to be the best source of protein for lysine specifically, which is what I want to jack up in the morning, which is the amino acid that I think helps with preservation and maintenance and building of lean body tissue, muscle. So on that note, I want to talk to Darcy for a second because she mentioned she's allergic to eggs, or it has an egg intolerance like most of my family has the same one. You know what, we're going to start with step-ups today, different than the ones we did on Tuesday. Oh God, I don't want to lift that 30-pound ball, you guys. Oh. This was the universe like trying to push me. I actually got to turn my heater off. Can you believe that? Thank goodness we don't have class tomorrow. Because tomorrow is supposed to be just wickedly cold. I mean, I don't know what's worse, coming in here or going to do my very long hill workout tomorrow. Okay, let's go. Just stepping up on one side like this. We didn't do these. We did full step-ups. So Darcy mentioned that, you know, best me sounds like a lot of eggs. Best me can be done any way that one wants to. My husband is allergic to eggs. We always adopt programs. I happen to be eating a lot of eggs because my body does really well with eggs, but not everybody's does. So can you do best me? The only dietary way of eating that I think would be challenging to do best me is plant-based. Could you do it? Yes, but it's really not designed to omit all animal products. There's no dairy in it. The only dairy that's actually in the plant itself is Greek yogurt, which most people who have dairy intolerances or omit dairy, they omit lactose and what's the other thing? Well, milk, I guess. There is no lactose and no whey in Greek yogurt. So the compounds that bother people who have lactose or dairy insensitivities, most people are fine with Greek yogurt. Now, if you weren't for some reason fine with Greek yogurt, can you do the Best Me program without it? 100% you can. So if Best Me is something that you've avoided because you didn't think that your intolerances would work on it, that's definitely not true. So you could. What I love about the program, the Best Me program, is it can be adapted to so many different needs and goals. Like I've said, my son he's not following it per se, but he's using elements. He's learning portions. And his goal is to gain weight. So he's implementing. It teaches you really how to know what you're eating and how to adapt it to whatever your goals are, right? So I'm constantly tweaking it because my goals initially were, I would say, weight management, more than weight loss. But performance, my goals are performance based. Like I want to be best me for the race that I'm preparing for. I need every tool in my toolbox to have a hope of finishing it because it's at altitude. So I can't afford to not go all in for this race. And it's too huge of an opportunity. Anyway, so morning. So I thought, no, I want to stick to my protein first thing. So what can I have? I didn't want to have my breakfast because I like having my breakfast when I'm done. So what could I have to put something in so that I'm not running on empty? So I decided after the call the other night, I'm going to try Emily's shake. Honestly, guys, I'm going to say it sounded disgusting. I'm like, there's no way that's going to taste good. But it's like she was speaking to me the other night. She said, I make this shake. It's fast. It gets my protein in first thing. And it keeps me going and it starts my day until I can have my real breakfast. I'm like, bam, bam, that's exactly what I want. So this morning I mixed a scoop of chocolate protein with the reds, golds, and greens. I didn't put the fiber in because I was running and I thought, I'm gonna not do that just in case. I think it'd probably be fine. I'll try that on a non-running day maybe to see first. Anyway, or in the spring when I have access to a porta potty. Versus when it's 1,000,000 degrees below and not pleasant to have to deal with a bathroom break right now. Anyway, it was freaking delicious. Like I only made about a cup, so I mixed macadamia milk, which I bought at Costco, of course. Okay, so next up we're gonna do side squats because we also didn't do those. Did we do those? Yes, we did do those. What did we miss? We did these. We did those. There was something we missed for legs that I wanted to do. You know what? We're gonna do pogo hops. I hate them. We're gonna do them. And then we're gonna move on to upper body. Okay. So these guys. Anyways, I just thought the reds, golds, and greens together would be great, but with chocolate, ew, gross. And I am not really a chocolate berry. Like chocolate covered strawberries, yes, but like a chocolate berry flavored shake, no thank you. It was so good. Like I was like, I literally can't wait to have it next week. It was so good. I was shocked. I'm like, okay, well, here's another snack for my repertoire. So the chocolate protein with golds, greens, and reds. Betty, I know you have all of that stuff. So good. And then I mixed it with macadamia milk, or you could use almond milk. Both, I don't think count. Like you don't have to count them because they're so low, like they're like 35, 40 calories for a cup. There's not enough in them to count them, so they're free, is my understanding. Anyway, even if I had to count it, it's not a big deal. But so I counted it as one protein point. Whew. And it was delicious. It was so good, and it did the trick. I felt so much better on my run today. So that's my tip for you guys. If any of you are in that situation where you're, because the thing is, I'm up like quite a bit longer before I'm running now, and my training is only going to get more intense. I do not want to. One of my sayings is, you're not feeling today's run, you're feeling tomorrow's run. So yeah, I can get through today's run, but can I get through, another run later today or tomorrow, right? Like you're always fueling for tomorrow, right? Because, and you should think of that with diet too, right? Like don't eat just for today, eat for tomorrow. What's going to keep you going on the trajectory you want to stay on. If it's going to, if it's going to leave you hungry and starving and depleted feeling, you're not thinking about tomorrow. Anyway, okay, so back to what I was talking about before, which now I gotta remember what that was. I need like a whiteboard to write my thoughts down that I've talked about. Anyway, it'll come to me in a second. I've learned some great stuff this week, you guys. I feel so educated. I love it. There's these two guys that I used to follow online a lot. They're both, I think I told you about them yesterday. They were both medical, oh my gosh, residents. They were in their medical residency when I followed them several years ago, probably six years ago maybe? No, maybe not that far. Anyway, they're huge powerlifting guys that became doctors. And one of the things with their advice or how they train, it's all science, very science and medical based. So, but they're athletes, so that they understand that there is a component to humans that goes far beyond science, right? Because of the being part of the human, right? Like they've done some really interesting sessions on pain and pain management because, you know, they're doctors, but they recognize there's an element of pain that is neurological and inexplicable by science because it has to do with the brain-body connection. So even though you can solve the problem that was causing the pain may persist beyond the problem being solved because of the fact, oh, hang on, I need this because we're gonna do rows, because of the fact that pain is neurological to some degree, right? So your brain will keep saying it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. And I experienced that when I was having my hip pain for years. My osteopath would fix me up and he's like, there's nothing wrong. And I'm like, well, it hurts. Like it sure feels like there's something wrong. And you know, it was a bit baffling. Okay, so we're gonna go to rows next. We're doing kind of a combination full body today. So they talked about calories in, calories out. Could you imagine? Because any of you that read my TikTok post would see how many people said you can eat whatever you want, it's just calories in, calories out. And I'm like, okay, it is calories in, calories out. That part is simple, but the execution of calories in, calories out is not simple at all. And so they did a podcast where they broke down what constitutes calories in and what constitutes calories out. So I think I talked a little bit about the calories in part yesterday because these simpletons, or those who like to simplify it down to just eat whatever you want, just eat less and move more. Okay, so how do you know how much you're eating? It's really hard. It's really difficult to figure that out because of absorption. Like fecal matter, they talked about fecal matter, right? How much we lose through that. Urine. Okay, so then let's talk calories out for a second. So there's three things that impact calories out. There is the calories, I forget what it's called, your metabolic rate, I think. Not basal, it's a different one. Resting metabolic rate. Essentially, how much does your body burn? How many calories does your body burn in a day just to exist? So that's your I think, resting metabolic rate, I think it's called, which is very similar to your basal metabolic rate. And it's dependent upon your lean body tissue, your lean body mass. So what is lean body mass? Anything that's not fat, really. So bones, organs, and muscle. Okay, so it's really hard to increase the size and weight of your bones and and organs, but what can you influence very easily or readily? How much muscle you have. You can increase the amount of lean body tissue on your body by increasing your muscle, and that's how you will influence that factor of calories burned. That's why they say, and they talk a lot about it on Best Me, the more muscle, the more lean body tissue you have, the more calories you burn just sitting watching Netflix, right? So where is your best opportunity for weight loss and maintenance of that weight loss? It's in the gym, lifting weights and building muscle. It's not on the cardio machines, right? Okay, so that was one. Trying to think of the second one. Oh, this one was really interesting. The type of foods you eat, there is energy expenditure in eating and digestion. So let's say you eat only a liquid diet and smoothies, right? There's no energy expenditure for the digestion of that food, right? Which is why they say there's foods that have higher, I want to say it's called a thermic rate or thermic value, something along those lines, that said set 5. I'm like, there's no way we have 3 more rounds of that. The thermic rate or the thermic value of the food you eat, so the type of diet you eat, there are certain foods that require energy to be eaten and digested, and therefore some of them will have a higher value than what their calorie intake is. So like, I can't remember, there's a name, but you can like Google like foods that cost more in digestion than, so they're like a negative value. You can't lose weight just by eating those foods. I don't think it really quite works that way. Okay, so we're gonna let's do a set of bicep curls and tries. No, we're not, because my arms are sore. I don't think we need those today. Let's do plank. I'm so discombobulated today. We're gonna do a cardio set. We're gonna do good old TH jacks. Haven't done these in a while. So that's the second. So can you see how easy it is to calculate calories in and calories out? Not. Because how do you figure out, okay, person on TikTok who says it's so easy, what's your resting metabolic rate? Tell me. Okay, we're going to plank. And also, what's the therma value of all of the foods you eat? Okay. Now the third factor is activity and exercise, right? So how many calories are you burning? But there's 2 parts to this one. There's exercise. I can't remember the rest of the acronym. There's exercise and non-exercise. Something. Anyway, I was all excited because I was going to remember what they stood for, and I can't think of it right now. Eat and neat. Eat is your exercise affected, and neat is non-exercise. So neat refers to how much does somebody fidget and involuntarily move their body every day. It's not something you can't, like, if somebody's a real fidgeter and they're constantly, they're almost like ADD styles, they have a higher neat value. And it's not something that you can control. You can't decide, I'm going to become a fidgeter so I can lose more weight. Like, that's not, that's not a good strategy. But it is a factor that influences people's rate of calorie expenditure. And it's interesting because it impacts people as they lose weight. But anyways, it's almost like an involuntary response that our body has to a certain activity level, almost. Okay, like walking is not a non-exercise. Walking is exercise. So voluntary movement is eat, exercise. So walking, working out, running, pickleball, tennis, like whatever, you're voluntarily moving your body, that would be eat. I guess, I'm not sure where they would put, you know, if you have a stand-up desk or a treadmill desk, if that would be eat or neat. But anyways, it's just kind of your activity level throughout the day. So, and there was a lot of really cool variables that they discussed. Like, for example, some people, when they lose weight, their metabolic rate goes down, almost like their body works against them to not allow them to lose weight or not allow them to keep it off. This is like an involuntary thing that happens. I thought that was really interesting. The other thing that's really interesting that I've thought about before, but I really haven't really thought about it is, let's say, okay, let's take 3 different people, okay? Let's say me. I gained 10, 15 pounds. Okay, before I talk about that, I want to go back to something for a second. When we were talking about how you're changing your physiological form when you're trying to lose weight, steady state is homeostasis, right? If you're familiar with homeostasis, it's essentially the steady state. It's the state at which your body is always trying to return to, right? So if you're cold, it's trying to warm you up. If you're hot, it's trying to cool you down. You know, it's always trying to return you to this, what's called steady state. Okay, so I want to talk about this in 2 different levels. We're going to continue with core. So we're going to do core next. We're going to do those awful ones. Let's start with them. Let's get them out of the way. The ones where we do this. Okay, so you're going to be on your back. So get down. Here we go. Okay, so you can rest this foot or you can lift it. If you lift it, it's vastly harder. And if you have to rest it, just try not to like fully place it on the ground or fully push it on the ground. Like just sort of rest it so that it's still being supported by the core. Okay, so have you ever noticed, let's take a larger person, right? Somebody who is, say, obese. They want to lose 50 to 70 pounds. Have you ever noticed that they don't continue to gain weight? Like at some point, the body like levels out to what's called homeostasis or steady state, right? So right now, your steady state is where you're currently, like if you're maintaining, that's your steady state. So if you want to drop 20, 30, 40, 10, if you want to drop weight and transform your body into something that looks different, like you want to be in a different size of clothes, right? Like, so think, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. You know, like I gave you 2 scenarios at the beginning where one person might just be like, hey, I just really want to lean up. I'm happy about my size. I don't want to necessarily go down in size or change my size or shape. I want to change my body composition, right? So I just want maybe a little bit more toned. You're changing your body composition, but you're not changing your actual size. I don't know if that makes sense, if I'm explaining that right, but another person, probably what most people are looking for is a complete change in their steady state, in their homeostasis. Now, when you think about that, in that kind of form, how on earth can that happen in a month? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, how are you going to create a brand new body that can settle into a new steady state and maintain it in a month, right? Like when you've maybe maintained the current one for how many years, right? You can't rush. When you think about it that way, am I making any sense right now, you guys? It makes sense in my brain. I'm having a hard time articulating this thought, and it's something that I really want to put out into the world to think about, that if you were able to change your steady state that quickly as you wanted to lose weight, can you imagine how quickly you would gain weight too? Right, that was my thought the other day. If that was possible to change your physical form so quickly, wouldn't we fluctuate? Like they were saying, I'm trying to think of, I gotta re-listen. This is a podcast I have to listen to 2 or 3 times a day. They were talking about, it takes like a year to really change, to really change and adopt a new you, essentially. And it goes both ways. Like you can eat. They talked about a group where they fed them 1,000 calories a day, more, like in excess. They figured out their calories in, calories out, and they had to eat in excess of 1,000 calories. And they compared the weight gain between all the people. Oh my God, they were twins too. So the twins would gain the same amount of weight, but the sets of twins would vary. So there's a variance in each other, how we all process weight gain, weight loss, which you guys already know that. But what you're trying to do when you're trying to lose weight is redesign yourself. You're basically a construction project where you're taking down an existing house and you're rebuilding. That's what you're doing. You can't do that in a week. You can't do that in a month. You can't do that in 6 months. Like you need to look at the course of a year and look at completely redesigning yourself if that's what your goal is. And usually that's what our goals are, but we want it yesterday. But can you imagine if we got weight loss results as fast as we wanted them? Then the opposite would also have to be true. We would gain the second we ate something, right? Like calories in, they were saying a calorie deficit doesn't actually really impact you for weeks and weeks and weeks. And same with a calorie surplus does not impact you for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's not like you need to match them up on a weekly basis. You need to match them up on a long-term basis to actually see results, which is like, hey, can we say that to the diet world that wants results like yesterday? That it doesn't scientifically work. Can we say that to all the TikTok people, please? That calorie deficits don't work for months and months and months and months. Like they don't take effect. Crazy, right? Okay, where are we at? We're gonna do one more set. I'm trying to think. We're gonna do side planks. No, we're gonna do glute bridges. We need to do some glute bridges. No, we're gonna do side planks. My legs are sore. We're gonna do glute bridges next week. So lifting. Really lifting with that side. Anyway, lots to think about, but I just loved how they presented the science behind the fact that those changes take weeks to months to actually, it's like, again, it's like money. You put money in the bank. You're just not gonna see results the second you put it in. Over time, you see the results, right? And it's the same with weight loss. Like, you got to keep doing the little things, and all of a sudden it'll seem like it comes off like that, but it's been the culmination. I mean, I've lost 10 pounds in a month. I could say it's best me. Best me was probably the last kind of piece that I needed, but it's compounded on top of cutting out alcohol, cutting out, like, sleeping great, being really consistent with my exercise, my yoga. Like, it was kind of just that, it was the icing on the cake that I had already been working at for 2 to 3 years, right? It just all kind of came together. I have to say too, one of the other things that I'm actually absolutely floored about is my recovery. Like, how good my body feels. You guys know I haven't changed anything really in terms of my workouts. Like, I'm exercising really the same as before, possibly more, but I would get achy feet, especially my shoes. My feet would bother me. I noticed the other day when I was doing yoga, I could kneel on my feet. I couldn't do that. And I thought I was kind of like, I thought it was arthritis. And I thought that I just was not going to be able to ever sit like that again. The inflammation that I didn't really realize I had, I just figured, well, you know, I'm older and I run a lot. I demand a lot from my body, so there's going to be a little bit of aches and pains here and there. The BioCell took away, you know, the real bad pain that was stopping me, but I don't know, it could be a combination of cutting out the inflammatory foods and alcohol. Like I've not had any junk, you guys. That my hips, my back, my feet, and you know what happens when you don't have those aches and pains? You can train in a totally different way. Like I can run like I haven't run in years, you guys. Like there's no, my 747s, like remember you guys, I always said this one hip, I always felt a little bit stuck. That's gone. I'll show you what I mean in a second with my feet. Like I couldn't bend them in certain ways. So I think it's partly the just removal of anything that was causing any inflammation in my diet. It just goes to show you again, like what we consume, what we put in our body is so powerful. This is what I couldn't do. I can't do it with shoes on too well. I can feel it, but I couldn't like before, I couldn't even sit like this before. See, I can do it now. Like I couldn't even, that's exciting. I can move my feet all around. Oh, feeling good. All right, there's another week in, you guys. Sorry for the soapbox today. I'll see you all next week. Have an awesome weekend. Stay warm tomorrow. Think of me out there freezing.